Okay, we are live now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Now, I would like to find out where you're coming from, our participants. If you are coming from West Malaysia, you can type in the chat room there, put W for me. Are you from East Malaysia? You can just put E. Or you from other countries, name us the country. And if you are one, you are an educator, you put 2 if you're a parent. 3 is for others, so that we know where you're coming from, who you are. That will help us a lot as we are going through this registration. Are we waiting for Mr. Ramesh? Mr. Ramesh? How's my fellow panelists today? How are you?
Very good, excellent.
Very good.
Yeah, really good.
You look very cool today, you know. Can't wait to hear from you. Okay, how are you, Evelyn?
Hey, I'm fine.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Can't wait to hear from you as well, Mr. Chan.
Yes, I'm good.
That sounds good. Mr. Tan too. Mr. Ramesh, I can't see your face, you know, Mr. Ramesh. I cannot see your face, Mr. Ramesh. Can you adjust a little bit?
I can see you.
And Miss Vala, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sagi as well, accommodating us. We have how many altogether today, the participants? How many already?
As of today, we have around 200 participants registered, according to Mr. Ramesh. And hi, Ms. Grace. Thanks for inviting us to this webinar as well.
Yes. Without you, we would not have this number of capacity of people joining us. Okay, great.
Thank you, Ms. Grace.
I can't wait to hear about your brain learning. Okay, Mr. Ramesh. Okay, we shall start now. All right, it's already 2:45. We are very punctual. All right, good. So, Mr. Ramesh, I've known you since 2017. Okay, when we had our meeting at Putrajaya with Padu about STEM, isn't it?
Yes.
I think 2018 I met you. Okay, so, and you have established so much within this 2 years, Mr. Ramesh.
Yes.
Can you share with us our audience about your journey to set up this fantastic STEM makerspace in Taman today?
Sure. Thank you so much, Grace. Now, a very quick introduction to myself. My name is Ramesh, and I wear a couple of hats. One is I'm the Honorary Secretary to the Malaysian Association of Creativity and Innovation, and I'm also one of the founders of the STEM for All Makerspace. Is it clearer now?
Yeah, it's better now. Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, so within MACRI, we decided that we need to focus more on STEM education about 3 years ago, because then the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation was also moving towards that. And that's how MACRI embarked on this journey of promoting STEM education. And along the way, we came across many exciting programs and projects being done by fellow Malaysians, Mr. Chan being one of them. So he had a very good program that, he has brought, and in trying to, teach kids at a very young age the importance, relevance of STEM through his own BrainNet series of program. So to answer your question, Grace, this is how we grew. Along with Mr. Chan, we've got about 50 over STEM partners, you being one of them, of course, Grace. So the programs that you conduct are all very, very STEM oriented. So I'm pleased to inform our audience, we have a lot of talented people out there, very passionate and very knowledgeable in their respective fields. So that's how our journey began about 3 years ago. And today we have a permanent space. Later, I think Walar and will take us through a journey. If time permits, we can actually go through, and I'll show you what we have at our STEM for All Makerspace. So it is, as the name suggests, a makerspace is where you create projects, you create ideas, you actually problem solve, and you come up with your own innovative projects. So the makerspace allows this, and we have a lot of STEM partners to conduct programs from coding to 3D printing to drone making, and that's the kind of a things that we happen. So Grace, to answer your question very briefly, the 3 years has been a very fantastic journey. We have made a lot of friends who are all passionate in promoting STEMs in their own area, and now we have got a base. And from our base, we actually go to schools, we go to malls, we go to public places. Of course, during this very unfortunate period of this pandemic, we are all rooted to our respective places. So we go online, we do online programs. Yep. So, yeah.
So let's have a tour. Okay, are you ready? Are we
Yes. So
ready?
I
Let's
think,
have a tour of the makerspace at Taman. A lot of people do not know that we have our own makerspace now, all right? And it's very nicely located in Taman at Subang Jaya, very near to your college, huh, Vala?
Yes, Miss
all
Grace.
right. Yes. So Segi has been very, very supportive of us. We have had quite a number of activities. This is the entrance to our STEM for All makerspace. Is it Nicholas who's helping us to navigate through? Right, good. So as you enter, you will see we have a robot. And of course, the robot will tell you that you have to, do your standard SOP for COVID. You have to take your temperature, and then as you moving along, all right, and this is what you get to see. Right, okay. Now, so you see wherever you have got these red spots, actually, if you click on that, there will be some further information popping up there. That is to introduce you more to the activities and programs that we have. Like, for example, here it gives you introduction. So when you press on that click, Coded Mind appears. So Coded Mind is another STEM partners of us, and they do coding programs, right? So Nicholas, if you can just guide through the arrow and choose anywhere you want to stop, and I can explain to you, right? So you can see that there's specific zones, like in this zone, if you press on the arrow a bit further, all right. One more time, if you press forward, press the arrow one more time. All right. So here you'll see there's a lot of craft kind of a things, you can press the arrow one more, it'll bring you closer to our workstation. Right. And this is where kids, when we invite kids or, they come in groups, they will be seated here together with our facilitator, and we'll be able to teach them craft and of course the science behind it, like even slime making. So there is science behind it. And that's the kind of a thing that happens in this particular space. You can navigate further. Right, here we have a reading corner. So a lot of parents who would like to participate in programs or do their routine shopping, they can just come here and do a little bit of chill out, right? Okay, so this is what happens in this particular area. It's more for activities that is, but every of our activities are hands-on. Okay, you can click the arrow to your moving towards your left. Yep, that's right. All right. Yep. Yep. You can click one more time to the left. See, it'll take you to our. All right. So if you can see here, we have some drones. One more to the the top arrow. Yeah, closer. Correct. So this is where this section talks about drones, right? So we have got programs. Training programs. Of course, we also have got our own drone cage where after you learn how about the aerodynamics of drones, you can also do a little bit of flying. So then you tend to appreciate. In fact, one of our STEM partner, William, he and his son, Daryl, will also be able to teach you how to make your own drones using ice cream sticks. So this is something that is very, very unexpected. You'll think that, wow, drones are only manufactured in factories and it's very high tech. But then we have people who can actually teach kids that, hey, look here, you can also make your own drones. You can then program it and you can fly it. And all this can be done within a day or two, right? So this happens at our STEM for All makerspace. You can click to your right. The arrow to the right, right, that's right, okay. And further, one more time on the arrow. Great. Now this takes you to our makerspace. This is where kids get to actually do things, you know, fabricate their own design, tool cutting with wood, making their own LED badges, for example, or 3D printing. You can see R2D2 is 3D printed entirely, right? We've got over 1,000 components, and thanks to Daryl, who is a maker, uh, a very talented maker, is able to put things like this together, right? And what's most interesting is we can teach kids to do all this. Yeah, that's fun, right, Grace?
Yes.
Right. So how are we with time? Are we close to our 4 p.m.? You know, or you want to look around more? I'll be happy to show you if you're okay with time.
Oh, right. I think we are almost time now.
Right.
All right. So it looks very interesting, awesome. And these are the places that I fully recommend that children should go to after school. All right. I think afterwards, Doctor will talk about this, just like in the MIT or the Lego projects, you know.
Yeah.
These are the places that children should be going there, get their hands dirty. And Mr. Ramesh, I bet you by next year, this place would not be so neat.
We want it. Yeah, it's meant to be worked. Meant to be played and to be fully utilized.
Very well
Correct.
after the COVID-19, you know.
One more thing that I would like to also mention, that this is a very like open concept, and meaning to say many of our STEM partners can actually come and utilize the spaces. All right. So people like Mr. Chan has done some programs. Mr. Tan has also done, and now we're waiting for Dr. Yu and you as well, Grace. We're supposed to do some things, right? But then because of the current situation, we have KRV, the thing, but it's open. So what I want to mention to parents and even those who are listening, I mean, those who operate their own schools, for example, we most welcome you to jointly do programs. You know, so we have many other STEM partners. In fact, if you can navigate, Nicholas, if you can navigate out towards the entrance, I can show you a panel where we have got over 50 participants. Yeah, you can just make a 360 turn. You can just rotate. Then if it is possible, I can just show you that we have got many STEM partners who listed in our panel, right? Yep, so the arrow downwards, yes, you can click on the arrow downwards. Yep, on the left. Oh, okay, we have, okay, correct. You can just click the one on your left. Oh, we are out. We are already out. Okay, never mind. Maybe it's a bit, you know, not too easy to navigate around, but just to let you know, this is how our center looks. And also we have a lot of spaces for new partners, new activities to come on board. Anytime you feel that back to normal, right? Currently, we are focusing all very much on online and digital programs. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's basically our tour of our STEM for All Makerspace. Thanks, Nicholas, for the wonderful navigation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramesh. I think with this, a lot of people will be going all over to your space there, you know. And then thank you to Taman under the Pavilion Group. It has been fantastic. You can find food there. There's fantastic things to be done. And I'm looking forward to more of such bigger space at maybe Damansara Heights, where the pavilion is. Kuala Lumpur is the heart of the city, you know. That would be a main attraction for people. Even when they're visiting Malaysia, they can actually learn about STEM. Okay, so we are at 3 o'clock right now, so we have to start already. So Mr. Ramesh, you would like to just
okay, so great, we are sharply now. So as scheduled, we shall commence with our program. Now today's program is in fact very much part of the World Children's Day. Now, World Children's Day has been celebrated world over, as the name suggests, to recognize and to also appreciate and to inspire children of all ages, right? So what we did is we decided that let's do something to promote STEM education. So we started on the 20th, and today is the last day. We thought we should end it up by trying to reach out to parents, okay, parents and educators. So after having spoken to a few of them, including Dr. Yu and Miss Grace, we decided that we should have a talk on the importance of STEM in early childhood education, right? So there's a lot of misconception, or there's a lot of lack of awareness on the importance of it, or people feel that, or rather they're not aware why it is so important. So we thought that let this be the beginning, and we'll bring in some experts in their respective fields. And to do that introduction, of course, we have Miss Grace, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Miss Grace Chow, who is a very good friend of ours, who's a very strong advocate of STEM education. For her to do, she will be the moderator for our session today. She'll introduce all 5 speakers. She'll also lay out the house rules, all right? I will introduce Miss Grace to you. Grace is the founder of Tadika Active, and she's also come up with her own product called ActiveBot Learning System, which she will then later introduce at this program. I find that to be a very interesting product, and I think she also has got a special prize for those who stay on to the very end of our program to receive a prize worth 1,000 ringgit. Yeah, thank you, Grace, for offering that, as an incentive for those who want to also be informed further about the importance of STEM education. Now, about Grace, besides being the founder of Tadika Active, she's also the first STEM change agent since 2018, right? And she has also been speaking in many of the forums. And at EduTech Emergent, she emerged as the winner in the Global Leadership Award 2020. That's quite an achievement, for someone who has just begun to embark on this STEM education at very early childhood. I don't think there are many of us or many of them in Malaysia who's focusing, and probably Grace is one of the few rare persons, who is actively trying to bring about STEM education at a very early childhood, right? So Grace, with that, can I pass the mic in this? I wish I could say floor, but gone are the good days where we will stand on floors. We have to be contented to be speaking over mics and over this digital virtual space, right? So Grace, it's yours now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramesh, for a very nice introduction. Okay, we shall not waste any more time. Okay, so today I will just like to introduce my panelists, all 5 of them. And we have put together some very, very interesting mixture of innovators, creativity people, and then people with EQ experiences, and also people with the neuroscience experience, so that you will feel that the whole STEM forum will cover all areas, so that we can go back, we can actually now going to help our kids, our parents, and also our teachers. All right, to start off with, I will just go through a few rules, okay? Now, we'd like you to post your questions, but we need you to put down the name of the panelists that you're addressing the question to. Please put down the name of the panelists that the question is for. Number 2, we will then handle your question at the end of the session after all the panelists is done with. Is that okay? So these are the house rules. And without further ado, okay, I shall invite our first speaker, Dr. YKK. Okay, I'll just quickly run through. We have Dr. YKK, who is an international speaker on creativity and innovation. We have Miss Evelyn Evelin, who is the chairman of Persatuan Tadika Malaysia. She's going to introduce to us what is STEM and music. And then we have Miss Marla here, who is from SAGI. She's a lecturer and program leader, Faculty of Music, Education, Psychology, and she is also hands-on in teaching science, okay, to help her students. And Mr. Chan, who is founder of BrainNet Sdn Bhd, and he has many years of training young children, you know. So I would love to see all the activities and outcome later. And of course, Mr. Tan Kok Ming, professional talent development coach and trainer and certified professional behavioral and motivational analyst. Wow, very, very interesting, Mr. Tan. We will learn more from you today. Okay, so Dr. Yu, are you ready now?
Yes,
okay.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, now over to you, Doctor.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. YKK, and I have covered nearly the whole spectrum of science. For example, from being a teacher in science and mathematics, and then I progressed to being a laboratory chemist for 7 years. And then from there, I was handpicked by the Minister of Science, Technology, and Environment at the time, Dr. Omar Stephen Yong, or his Tan Sri already after that. So to head the National Science Center project. So if you, let me show you my slide. Oh, I can't see. Okay. I conceptualized, planned, implemented, organized, as well as run the National Science Center in Bukit Kiara. Can you type NSC there if you have been to the National Science Center in Bukit Kiara, Kuala Lumpur? Anyone? This is the one. Can you see the slide? Can you see my slide?
No.
No.
Can't see. Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
我这个好，听不到声音。
What is it? We can cut other people off first, the audio. Now let me tell you about the important principles about STEM. First of all, in the 1990s, I was involved with STEM. We have several international organizations that studied about the STEM in education. And what they come up with was this suggestion that the number of applications to the Malaysian National Universities at that time must be 60% science-based. Unfortunately, just like Vision 2020, it never happened until today. All right. So right now, I think we are in a much better position because we are starting at the kindergarten level. Because at the kindergarten level, the children are most creative and very curious. And so it is the right thing to do. What we failed to do, I think in the 1990s, I think we have a good chance of success because we start them early. And I'm very fortunate also in this because I've written several books on creativity, how to sort of cultivate creativity in children. And I happen also to be the only international creative advisor to LEGO for its international project called the Next Generation Forum, which is to promote creativity to the children of the world. And the concept of education is fantastic. In the concept, they have a whole spectrum of life that includes the arts. That's why personally to me, I think STEM is too narrow based. It should be STEAM, right? Where A stands for arts. Because the way to science is to the arts. That is the philosophy of a Nobel Prize winner. So we must embrace everything so that we can see science in relation to daily life. And the most important thing about STEM is natural curiosity. Right? But how do you cultivate natural curiosity? Basically, you don't need to cultivate curiosity in children because they're naturally curious. Based on studies by the Western universities, you found that on the average, a 4-year-old asks about 390 questions a day. Can you imagine that? Of course, when you grow up, you cannot answer the question. You get irritant to the teachers and they will not be popular in class. And that's exactly what happened to the great scientist Albert Einstein. So when Albert Einstein, before he goes to school, his mother will tell him, please ask a question to your teacher where your teacher cannot answer. Well, if you're a teacher, will you like that? He literally drive the teachers bonkers, because he think how to. But the important thing is he engages his mind and find out what are the possibility of the teacher not being able to answer that question. And many years later, there was another Nobel Prize laureate. His name is Professor Isidore Rabi. And he attributed his success as a Nobel laureate by the fact that his mother, at the end of school days, of the school, when he returned home, his mother always asked him this question: what good question have you asked in school today? It's not just any question, but what good question you asked today. The word good, he says, was responsible for him being very inquisitive and think deeply about what he studied. So to me, the first principle of STEM education is natural curiosity. But how do you cultivate this natural curiosity? As I said earlier, at the kindergarten level, it's not a problem. It's only at the primary school and secondary school that you have a problem. I believe that if the Ministry of Education just do one thing without cost, it will raise the standard of STEM significantly. Something very simple, something that doesn't cost money, but it will raise the standard of STEM very, very much. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is called questions. If you can train your students to ask one question, just like the Professor Isidore Rabi, a day, one good question a day before they leave school, then it will be fantastic. Now, the thing is that today, it's not a problem at all for the teachers to answer because they have smartphone, isn't it? And to answer the question, what do? If we do not know, we just ask Uncle Google, just key in the question and you get an answer straight away. So it's very important that you entertain the children's question. The natural curiosity is very important. Now, I've just finished reading a book by the founder of Atari. He was the one who recruited Steve Jobs. And he said that the only thing I look for in my employees is the natural curiosity, not qualification, or not academic qualification. So creativity and innovation is the backbone of the STEM system. Right. I'm also the advisor to a system developed in Adelaide, Australia. They call it the STEM cell, STEMSEL. You can Google that. And this is a remarkable invention. The thing is that you don't need programming language to program a computer chip to do switching of lights, irrigating farmland and all that. It's so simple. I've done it myself during the 3-hour session. So it's very simple. If there's enough interest, I can actually bring him over. In fact, he has been to several places already in Malaysia. So the first thing is natural curiosity, which by that alone, I think our education standard will skyrocket. Don't need to spend a lot of money and all that.
All right, Dr. Yu, fantastic. I like your simplicity, Dr. Yu. Yeah. Simple and just one clue for sure. Okay. And also, may I add that for now that we are into a bit of the online learning, we find that the children are able to participate more in terms of asking questions. All right, Dr. Yu, I have a question for you. Yeah. You talk about the curiosity. However, in real life, okay, even at kindergarten, children are already beginning to have tuition and lots of homework. How do we then reverse this, Dr. Yu? This is the real situation. How do we do it?
Actually, what you say is very true. In fact, kindergarten kids, especially my grandchildren, are busier than us because after school, they rush up to a lot of classes. They go for swimming class, reading class, music class, and all sorts of classes. I think the important thing is that, and this is done by studies as well, is that children should be given some free time, lazy time. They call it lazy time, where they do nothing and they will start thinking about things and all that. So that is one thing. And the other thing is that, which I teach in science as well, is that you must relate science to reality. Otherwise, science is so an abstract concept. Most graduates that I know of actually forget most of the science six months after graduation. So this is not healthy, because the purpose of education is not just to get a degree, is to be able to apply your knowledge. So to do that, link science to daily life. For example, a simple thing like, how was the camera invented? You say that it works like your eye, and so on and so forth. Why do you expect it to study calculus? Why is coordinate geometry so important? Just relate to life, right? I used to do that. So if they can, in the school syllabus, talk about the person who invented this, stories, the human element, so they say art is very important. That will make science a much more interesting subject.
So, Dr. Yu, we look forward to you helping us with the curriculum in early childhood, with all these experiences that you had. Okay, thank you. We'll come back to you later, Doctor, with the last question. Yeah. Okay. Shall we now call upon our second speaker, Evelyn? Evelyn, the chairman of Persatuan Tadika Malaysia. Evelyn is a specialist and highly skilled musician. In fact, I'm a very proud graduate of Persatuan Tadika Malaysia. And what I have done is I combine the lifelong learning and continue to read, and therefore I reached the stage of today. So today, Evelyn is going to talk about how she actually incorporate design thinking, critical thinking, and so forth. Over to you, Evelyn.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, good. We hear you loud.
Yeah, we are trying to put our slide.
By the way, for your information, she is so dedicated to be with us to share her experience. She actually had an appointment for eye surgery today. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you so much.
Okay, now can we share screen? Because just now Dr. Yao's screen was there. So I can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're fine.
Yeah, I agree very much with Dr. Yu about children being creative and inquisitive at the same time. Yeah, and as everybody knows, STEM has been promoted at all levels of schools, from preschool to the higher level colleges, institutions, universities. See, and STEM learning in preschool is very important, as the early exposure of STEM education provides children the opportunities to develop their curiosity in STEM related subjects, which often incorporate problem solving and critical thinking, creative thinking, and innovations. And however, some parents and early childhood educators are very skeptical about the preschoolers' ability to learn STEM concepts. Preschool teachers are very concerned on the ways to introduce STEM learning to children, and it frightens them to think that they must be competent in early science, early technology, and engineering. Is very frightening. Of course, they know early maths and science, that is in the curriculum. But engineering and technology is something that will frighten people, because they are not used to that kind of subject, and they are not trained engineers or technologies and all that. So that alone gives them anxieties to want to implement the STEM education in the preschool. Also, parents are equally important in playing supporting role. And parents also think that it's very challenging for the children to embark into technology and engineering. So as we know, pre-mathematics has nothing to do with numbers. Pre-reading has nothing to do with letters or alphabets. Pre-writing also has nothing to do with paper and pencil. So why is technology and engineering so frightening when it has got nothing to do with technology and engineering? It's all about having to do with creating, constructing, inventing, making things, building, fixing, etc. So because children are natural engineers, actually, they are very imaginative with lots of curiosity to create, build, and design. And they are inquisitive. They want to know, they want to find out, they want to fix things and see how it works. So at preschool, we develop the skills, the science skills, the math skills, and these engineering and technology skills, STEM skills, we can say, very easily. Okay, we can all do that. And the teachers are just facilitators. So in the process of learning is more important than the end results or the product. Okay, so we prepare and expose the children to STEM education through a lot of activities. So as I say again, STEM learning provides children the opportunity to develop their curiosity in STEM. Hence, they go through the process of STEM when they are engaged in these activities on the music side. So we start by exposing children to many different sounds of music instruments. For example, the percussion instruments. We introduce children to different sounds of the instrument. Let them experiment, let them go and see and hear. If you play differently, the sound will come out differently. They have their hands on to all these instruments as much as possible. Okay, and they experiment with sounds by playing with various materials in the environment. You can find all these tins and these strikers, mallets, you call it, from the kitchen. You can use wooden spoon, your dinner spoons, okay, and pot covers and all that. They can experiment with different sounds. And you provide different sizes of these tins that are collected, the Milo tins, and you can string them up for the children to compare the sounds when they strike it. They strike it with different mallet heads. That is the mallet that is made of plastic or wood or rubber or covered with wool. They sound different. So let them go and experiment with it. Let them go and think about the sound, how they want it to be, and how to play it. And they experience different sound by striking different sizes of tin covers, okay, with different mallet heads, as I said just now. So in this workshop, you can see some of the participants trying it out. And these things are found in the environment at home. Then here, by scraping across the surface, these instruments produce sounds that resembles the croaking of a frog. And these instruments are also actually called tone blocks because they have a tone, the higher tone and lower tone. And these are the mallet that the teachers can make using the chopsticks to thread the large beads and cut off the ends. So they look like the middle picture there. And they are made of plastic. So the teachers can actually bind these plastic mallet heads with wool to have a different effect. And when the children are asked to make all these things, okay, when you let the children make these improvised instruments, the questions you ask them is, why are you making this? What are you making? How did you make it? What sounds are you looking for? Are you satisfied and happy with what sounds you make? What is going to happen after that? Usually when we ask children to create something and make something, they just make. But if you have a direction, have a purpose, then they know what they want, what they are looking for. They start to design and make the things based on what they want and how they want to use it. So you provide a lot of materials for the children to construct and make their own instruments, to invent. You can have seeds, you can have marbles. If you put one marble in a small tin, when you shake it, the sound will be different from if you put many marbles inside and shake it. So like the children can also see if there is a difference, whether they use marbles or they use small stones or they use plastic covers. They go and experiment with different sounds and know how it's being produced. Whether you put in the plastic bottles or you put in the plastic tins or metal tins or a pot and shake it or heat it. So they can go and discover many sounds that they are able to make. So these are the improvised instruments. These are made by adults. So the children cannot make until it's so nice, right? But they can make something like this, the shakers, okay? Then of course you must provide a lot of materials for the children to have more choices. They can't bore holes in the plastic ring like this and attach the bells. Probably the adults must do it for them, but they can request, they can ask how to put the bells to stick on these round things. Okay. So by asking, by experimenting, by making, they use bottle tops to stick onto the hard cardboard and to make clappers or castanets. Okay, they can do that. And the coconut shells improvise in various ways. They produce different types of sounds. Now, why making all these? Why have all these sounds like plastic containers and bamboo made tone blocks and so on and so forth? Why are we doing that? What is the purpose? So when the children make these instruments, they use it for storytelling. They use it for role play, puppet show. What is that got to do with storytelling and puppet show and role play? The children create the sounds to match the characters in the story. So their inventions, their products are being used, and not just make and then that's the thing they make, but they make it for a purpose. So the storytelling is like that. Supposing they have a story of the billy goat. These big billy goat graph and the small billy goat graph and the troll, they will be crossing the bridge. And what sound would they make when they are crossing the bridge? This wooden bridge. Okay. What sound would they make when they cross the bridge? The big billy goat graph, what will the sound like? And a small billy goat, what sound would he make when he crosses the bridge? Is it the same? Is the big billy goat graph sound and the small billy goat graph sound the same? And which instrument are they going to use when they are telling the story? The big billy goat graph is crossing the bridge. He went trip, trap, trip, trap. That's the time when they play the sound of the billy goat graph crossing the bridge. That makes their story come alive. And the troll. When the troll has been knocked off by the big billy goat graph into the water, what sound would it make? And how to make a splashing sound? Okay, by dropping a tin cover or dropping a tin. Okay, and they imagine. And what does the river sound like? How does the flow of the water sound like? What are they going to use? What are they going to use to create the sound? So these are the things that children use their imagination. They use their creativeness in them, and they use whatever experience they have over the improvised instrument, that they make all this with a purpose. So the children have something to look forward to the end goal, that they can use it. And they not only just use it for the story, they can use and play the instruments with the music. Even at home now, even in online, the teachers can provide the music for the children. The children can play with the tin covers, the pot covers, with the chopsticks, with the spoon, and play along with the music. And they make the however they play in time or not in time, it doesn't matter. As long as they enjoy beating the instruments that they have with them, or the shakers, and follow the music, that's fine. They can sing along and play the instruments. Yeah, they can perform solo music as well.
All right, Evelyn.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's so wonderful. Okay, my question for you, Evelyn, is you are right. Okay, we should be doing STEM. Okay, not STEM, but more with the A, artistic, music, and humanity. I think something you may really incorporate all these lovely things into the STEM makerspace. What do you think? Can you do that?
In a STEM makerspace,
yeah, they need the music component there. You know, how about incorporating all these lovely things into the little space there to incorporate music and creativity?
Yeah, if time permits and if the situation is right, sure, that'll be right.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure Mr. Ramesh will welcome all the idea from you there. Okay, certainly I would like to feel it and experience that as well. Thank you, Evelyn. All right, that's a great presentation. All right, the next speaker we're going to have is a very experienced Mr. Chan. Okay, I love your STEM project in my school. I look forward to it, but this year we cannot do it. And I love the fact that you actually talk about renewable energy. And this is what we really need right now to educate our children about our environment. So without further ado, Mr. Chan, can you please share with us your all the things that you've done over the past 20 years, I was told, yeah? Mr. Chan, over to you.
Myself. Hi, everyone. All right, can you hear me? All right,
Yes.
can see my side? Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me in this forum, I guess. All right. And I'm Chan, I'm founder of BrainNet, and actually I IT guys. And because of the children, I turned myself into the education lines. All right. Now, without further, so I am goes forward to my. Sorry, 1 minute. All right. So I'm going through my slides. So I'm talking about the STEM education in early childhood, and of course, Grace. Renewable energy it is a trending now because our fossil energy are running out soon. I will touch on that if I got time. So let's go down to the basic. This is something about ourselves. We're doing mental development and STEM. Sorry, just quickly run through this. So what we've done in past 20 years, we are talking about the STEMs and mental development for kids. All right. So now we have three collaboration university at the moment with the MOAs. All right, so it's a St. John University from Taiwan, UKM, and Vedat in Kuantan, Vedat University in Kuantan. We work with university in different aspects and areas. All right. Now we recently received a Leader Choice Award for our programs. All right. Now, okay. Today's topic: importance of STEM in early childhood educations. Okay, now I tend to look from different angle. All right, my 2 cents point of view. Okay, why STEM at early childhood? All right, so now in early stage when we involved in STEM, that is like 4 or 5 years ago. We kind of like heard that they're more focusing on secondary. All right. Then in later stage, then they go down to primary, and then now we are getting on to preschool. All right. So now, why it's so important that we should go down into early childhood? First of all right. So children learn some basic science knowledge that is essential today. All right, we are not in the information age. All right, information age is my time. All right, I'm old enough. All right, all right. So we are in the digital age. All right. So what we need is we learning science knowledge because science also include of the engineering and technologies. So at the same time, we build a strong science foundation for the children. Even though they are very young, but we burn in this science foundation and science knowledge and STEM knowledge within them so that we build this for the future human capital requirement. All right. So we can't just leave it. Okay. Like we can't just have A student. A is important, but you have A doesn't mean that you can resolve a problem. All right. So what is the next is the reduced influence from the environment. Okay, I was touching on the environment. What is the element in the environment within Malaysia? So later on, so the most important thing is when we have this, all right? So the children, if they have strong science foundation, they will not reject the science subjects, all right? Because there's a lot of influence that says that science is very tough, very difficult to score A and blah, 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 all right? So now with this, all this built in, so we will have better enrollment to the STEM, or my time we call it science stream on upper secondary, all right? Now, if you look at from the industry requirement aspect, this is the extract from World Academic Forum, is on the, hang on, all right, it's from 2015 to 2020 and the latest to 2025. If you look at 2025, 50% of the skill related to problem solving. All right, you not just have the STEM knowledge, you need to resolve problems. Because when we look 20 years from now, the kids are adult, then they are working they are going to the working environment. The company requires the human capital to resolve the problem or give new idea to the specific industry where you are working on, all right? Now, environment improvement, that's what I'm talking about. Government is the policy maker, all right? So they decide the policy, how is the content in the kindergarten, what are you teaching in kindergarten, and the kindergarten as an education centers, all right? They decide on the syllabus and content and the way. You can see a lot of kindergarten moving in different contents and directions, all right? Now, coming to that is the teachers. Teacher is important, is one of the essential elements because they are the bridge to deliver whatever syllabus and content to the children. I think this is very important, all right? So in this tough time, then teacher even need to learn something new to deliver online. Okay, then the parent is the one who make a lot of influence and decision for the children. All right, they will tell children, oh look, science is tough, right? So, or some parents will have like, can you score A in science or whatever? Okay, so parents will another influence, like other like informal influence, like friends, they're looking at the YouTube, things like that. So this is I will classify as an informal influence. So with the strong science foundation or STEM foundation with the children, all right, this influence will be reduced, all right? So for kindergarten and parent, because of the COVID, now we need to rethink what are the better education for children. Of course, the answer is very clear. It's a STEM. It's for the future industry requirement. And then coming down to the kindergarten or the centers, education units, how do you increase your competitive advantage? You need to improve and implement to survive. Why am I talking about this? You need to sustain before you can educate the next generation, all right? So after that, then you need to really strategize how you should move on your education centers and unit, all right? Then, of course, you need to rebuild. Because of the COVID have suffered a lot, we too suffer a lot, so we need to rebuild our STEMs and whatever, all right? So there's a lot of different now. Now, STEM at kindergarten or the centers or education unit is last puzzle of your syllabus, all right? Now, moving forward for STEM and for the children, so if you look at finally, STEM early childhood. After the early childhood, you learn STEM. What is the moving forward? All right. So we have we have a design module for this. So from early childhood, then we go to renewable energy, cascading, and so on. All right. Now, design based. I'm not too sure whether this is relevant. We are designed that for group based learning. When you are in group-based learning, you have all these skills developed at the same time besides the STEM knowledge. All these skills are required by the industry. So we build this from preschool. All right. Now, if you look at this chart, hands-on, you have effectiveness of 90%. All right. So I can elaborate more on this, but I think I have lesser time. Now, one more thing is very important to the early childhood learning is it has to be fun learning. All right, so like Evelyn, you are playing with the music, that is we call fun learning. Grace, your active board, you call fun learning. Doctors, you have a lot of fun learning questions, even though you're asking questions, that's fun learning too. All right, so fun learning is one of the key points to the children growth. All right, now STEM implementation. All right, we are not going to implement direct to the children. So there is two areas that children learn STEM or STEM should be implemented is to education units. All right, education units, parents. All right. Laila. Okay, so at this moment, we have implemented our program into 40 kindergartens and centers, things like that. All right. Now, this is the things. We set up the projects for them. Each and every class, they are building in a group. Oh, please take note. For children, the picture inside there wearing mask is during the COVID. If not, then it's before the COVID. All right. All right, I think I'm time's up. I just glance through this. All right. Okay, we have kids coding also. All right. Of course. All right. Of course, we are not forgetting that the teachers are important to deliver. So we conduct some teacher training. All right. So we conduct the what I call that the competition as well. All right. Now, last question for parents and teachers, especially for parents. Have you prepared your children for the future industry? All right, this is the question mark for us to answer. All right, for kindergarten to answer this. What are you doing to prepare our next generation? So for teachers and kindergarten, I would like to say like, thank you for you are the engineer for the next generation. Are we on time?
Yes, that's right. All right, very well. Okay, now I understand your entire presentation, Mr. Chan. You have grown a lot since the last time. I truly have used most of your materials. In fact, during one of the camp, there's an international school boy, you know, he's the son of my lawyer. He's already 15 years old with the international school, and they never heard of STEM. That was just 2 years ago. So therefore, we are very advanced, you know, even at kindergarten level here. He came and he helped us out. So that was your renewable energy project. Now, I have a question for you, Mr. Chan. Yeah? Now that you have been 20 years, you have actually implemented in 40 schools, okay, and so forth. What is the impact that you've seen, okay, on all those projects you've done? Especially, we want to focus now into early childhood to help parents and teachers out there who are listening. Okay, what are the impact it has on teachers, parents, and kids so far?
Okay, now the first of all, we need to look at our audience. Our audience is the kids, all right? So what we want them to do in 25 years old or after 20 years old, all right? Now, we want them to be able to sustain in their life. So 20 years from now, it is very tough, even though we are tough now. So what we do is we want to build them for the industry, all right? Now, we have a very solid proof that, okay, the impact, all right? So this is the Sarawak Abang Jo, CM, okay? He already said that dalam tempoh kira setahun setengah kita dapat melihat kesan bahwa ditetapkan kepada teknologi secara santai, kanak-kanak boleh menguasai dan cepat dan mudah. So this is a solid proof, all right, that when children exposed to this, all right, to the STEM, they will learn, they will curious, like Dr. Yu say, they will curiosity. All right, so when all these join in together with the soft skills, of course, we cannot forget about soft skills, then the children will grow, they are able to contribute to the industry.
Yes, thank you. So certainly, Mr. Chan, because today we have a very big concern. I agree with you. We are less than 30% in terms of our graduates taking up science course, and that is still going down. So I guess you are trying to address this problem, and I do truly feel what you're feeling, that we should do something without further delay. Okay, in fact, if I may ask, or I might add, the awareness of this today's forum is to bring up the importance, okay, the importance of STEM in the early childhood. We should do it now and not later already. We are quite late. Okay, next we're going to have Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan, are you ready? All right, so Mr. Tan, we have been hearing a lot, okay? We have been hearing about parents, all right, objecting to students doing science and so forth, right? So maybe we hear from you. So you can just guide us through what is the secret to this.
Hi, Grace, and hi everyone. Thanks for having me here with you all today. You can call me Tan or Kok Mei. Okay, so before I share more things to you guys, how you all address, like based on the Grace question earlier, I just want to run through, like introduce myself. Okay, what am I doing? Because a lot of people curious, like, okay, what do you mean by that? You are a person that who are to find out people motivation and behavior, so all about. So basically, what am I doing here is my forte is basically to identify people behaviors and also what is their motivators to ensure that whatever learning or whatever gap of improvement that we want everyone to adapt, especially for child, is according to their interests. Because why this thing is so important, so that we allow them to explore whatever things that they are going to learn in their future. And why am I saying this? Is because a lot of time probably like we're not really assured that how kids learn is because every kids also have different behavior. This is where I help the parents to identify, okay, actually your kids what kind of behavior. With every behavior here, they have different interests, and also what kind of subject thing they are more into it. All right. So with that, that's how I help parents to identify, okay, every kids what kind of interest they have right now based on their own personal behavior. So with that, once you get to identify the every kid's behavior, that's where you only can align with whatever education you want them to learn. This is where the part that STEM allow all the kind of learning method and also all different things when it comes to science, when it comes to technology, when it comes to engineering and mathematics. So with this, that's where only you can motivate your kids. Okay, let's say you some of the kids, usually they behave like, kind of aggressive and always like to make their own decision. Usually we come to this kind of kid, the potential future for this kind of kids to become like a physician, a pilot, or manager, this kind of role. And some kids, like, they tend to be always like listen to the parent, listen to people, or they always please people, to follow people direction, is because they always care people's feeling. And when it comes to this, usually this kind of kids, they are more potential to become like a therapist, to become a doctors, and so on. So every kid's behavior also will identify how is this person future like, right? So I'm very sure that a lot of parents usually they always focus on like, okay, I wish that my kids can become a doctor. Some of them probably they wish that my kids can become probably a scientist, biological, or some of them they want them to become an engineering, or probably an archaeologist, or maybe an astronaut. As lately the news, we have a very marvelous news about our Malaysian kids that invented the toilet things with internet suit. So all these things is the wishes that parents want our kids to learn to become one day when they grow up, right? So whenever we have this kind of dream, and also our kids have this kind of ambitions, this is the part that we need to understand that what is their behavior like. So in order to become to what is the ambitious is going to be, even some of them, they want to become a pilot. So whenever you get to understand what is our kids' behavior, that's where you can help them to channel what is their interest, so that they can study according to whatever subject they really love it. And from there, you won't have an issue or any problem when it comes to worry whether my kids will stay into this line or not, whether my kids will stay into that kind of sector or not. Why? It's because you send them and let them to explore everything they are going to learn in for the future. And further things that most of the time, usually people might misunderstand, okay, why is my kids are not focused in the doctor, or why my kids are not focused into a science thing, even though I have sent this person, send my kids to learn about all these certain subjects. It's because based on their behavior, whether do they have this kind of interest or not. And first thing first, as a parent, we need to understand ourselves, whether have our kids have explored enough of every different industry or not. And if let's say they have not explored enough, this is where you need to send to on the STEM education. Why? Because STEM education is the best place that they can explore themselves in all kind of industry they are going to be in the future. Because with all these things, we need the fundamental. Okay, the fundamental about the science of who they are going to be in one day. In order to become a pilot, to become a doctor, biologist, all these things, we need the fundamental to be built first. If not, then when come to the time when they want to go for continue study in their college or university, when the time a lot of parents usually come to the stage decide, okay, son, now I want you to study this course as a doctor. And all this while they never have a chance to explore about whatever things about doctors. So if let's say they come to that stage, you suddenly send them to study about doctor, then end up when they study halfway, probably they found out, hey, I found out that I'm more interested into pilot because I have explored enough in different industry. So when come to that kind of situation, whenever the kids want to let the parents say that, okay, daddy, now I think I'm more interested into a pilot is because I have explored this kind of thing. All this while I never find out about this thing before. And when come to this situation, usually parents like, not happy with it. Why? It's because first of all, we have never set the fundamental to them from the early childhood, whenever they're in the stage of 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. Why do you want to send early? 4 years old, you can send them to learn about all these things because every kid they start to develop their own character in order to behave, to understand what is the learning they have today is based on the age of whenever they reach to 3, 4, 5, and 6. So at this age is the most important time for you to send your kids to the right place to educate them whatever thing they want to pick up by themselves. Because end of the day, we want our kids to make a decision right according to their future. So in order for us to help our kids to decide whatever education they want to go to, we need to always ensure to let them explore enough of everything when it comes to early child education. So that's why whenever if let's say some of you have not been to STEM, I would really encourage you to find out about STEM because I was there on October to give a parenting talk. And during that moment, I found out there's so many things that STEM provided, no matter in what kind of industry, is always can related. So I even brought one of my nephew and so the kids to their place. And the moment I brought this kid over there, he was so happy. And this kid was only like 6 years old. The moment I brought him there, compared to usually he like to go to the place, like a Lego shop to buy all the Lego thing. The moment I bring him to STEM, he found out he said that, oh, there's so many things for me to explore. It's not only I set my mind to just want to buy a Lego. Because in STEM, they even have an item like a Lego that help them to use their creativity in terms of innovation, how to build things in differently and how to craft out the thing. As you know, most of the time whenever we bought a toys, it's always like, it's already fixed, that one kind of item on it. And that's where a lot of kids always eager want to buy a new toys, want to buy a new Lego, where once they have fixed the thing up, then they feel bored. Then they say, okay, daddy, I want a new Lego again. And this is where you waste all unnecessary money. And when you bring them to STEM, it's totally a different story, where you allow them to discover more things like applying different methods. They can build different things by a single Lego itself. Because every item they're going to build, there's a different exposure of whatever understanding is going to be learned from that place. All right, Grace?
Yes, correct. I truly know because I experienced that. In fact, in the past 2 years, I took a gap in what I did to incorporate. Since 2017, I heard about STEM when I was in EduTech Singapore. And within 2018, I put together a STEM. I have to retrain the teachers. Unfortunately, we don't have STEM teachers at that moment, and we still have very lacking at this moment. But it's very hands-on for me, and I actually have seen the miracle. Okay, in fact, there's 1 year where I can remember, Mr. Tan. because I'm also a multiple intelligence school, so I actually have one little boy that is so talented, and that was just the beginning of part where we have STEM, and we do the scratch, we do the programming, we do the project, and I could see he just flourished. He was a smart boy, but when I introduced the STEM, he could immediately put everything together. He can tell me the Titanic story. He can draw everything in details. He tell me what year the Titanic was sinking, and he could actually build the whole thing and describe to me what it is. So there we are. We found new talent. Okay. So Mr. Tan, my question to you at this moment is this. Obviously, I hear all what you're saying. We all hear you. But how are we going to reach out to more parents, especially they're still in this A plus? There's nothing wrong with A plus, but what we're saying is that A plus and STEM is the way to go, because we need the skills. Okay, we need to create things. We are no longer in a consumer generation. We are into creativity. So, Mr. Tan, we really need your help, because in my area in Petaling Jaya, I do have problem. I do have very busy parents that never heard of STEM. Now, even though I've been a STEM agent, every day I will advocate about this, but there's still not enough. So, Mr. Tan, what can you do to help us?
Okay, when it comes to this, it's a great question that you're asking this because a lot of parents also want to find out that how they want to further, ensure that their kids learn whatever things they need to be picked up, right? So when it comes to that, it's very important that as a parent, we need to know and to understand how is our kids' behavior, right? And once you get to know your kids' behavior, that's where you get to know their interest in which level, what is the subject they really like on it. Okay, so once you get to know that, that's when it comes to STEM and also Tadika Active that Ms. Grace has shared with me, you are using the active board things to educate the child, where this active board is so cute and so unique that can educate the kids by just watching the active board, like teaching what is the thing they're going to show from the screen itself, right? So with that, because of a lot of things, everything now go digital already. Whenever it comes to digital, we always need to ensure that what is our kid interest from first place. And second part, what is the best subject they really want to pick up? Whenever you get to identify what is the favorite things of your kids, that's how you channel them to according to the education they need to pick up. So that we don't want our kids to pick up wrongly, especially like, come to playing a mobile phone game or any unnecessary thing that they should pick up during their age. Because when I come to the age like 4 to 6 to 7, this is the most important time that we need to ensure our kids being channeled to the right place to learn whatever subject they're supposed to pick up. Once they get to learn on this stage, then it's easier for them to make their own decision of whatever education they want to further explore by themselves. Yeah.
Good, fantastic. All right, we'll get back to you. All right, the last question. All right, thank you, Mr. Tan. Thank you for giving us such a wonderful insight of what we should do, even in early childhood, especially on the behavior. Great. We shall move on to Miss Vala. Miss Vala, how are you, Miss Vala?
Hi, Miss Grace. Yes, I'm good.
All right. Firstly, a big shout out and thank you to your team. Okay, without you, we would not have been able to host so many audience today. And Miss Vala, okay, you are. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Especially, we are into education 4.0 now. Okay, just roughly for our audience's benefit. 4.0, we are talking about accelerated learning. Is already in the year 2000. And all this information for for all our audiences and parents. Last month when we have the science month, okay, Stanford done the science month, and they actually have all the recording. All these things have been recorded. We have got very good testimonial. We have got very good case study from so many Malaysians that have been doing a lot of things for STEM already. It's nothing new. Okay, so we have one gentleman, for example, he chooses passion in the end, not just money. Of course, money is important. So he's back from Singapore, and what is it that he's doing now? Okay, as a researcher and being in the university. So for me, Vala, I'm very excited to share, to invite you to share with us. In particular, I'm very, very passionate about the plasticity of the brain towards accelerated learning. So over to you, Vala.
Okay, thank you, Miss Grace, for providing us this opportunity to join this webinar to share our views from different perspectives. So hi viewers, I'm Valer from Segi College Subang Jaya, and I am lecturing here, and I cover instructions in both psychology and early years education. All right, so today in this webinar, I'm going to share my view from a neuroscience perspective on how STEM education can promote lifelong learning. So based on what our previous speakers have shared about STEM education and how children go about their learning in STEM, we know that STEM is all about engaging children in a more meaningful way through allowing them to participate actively in their own learning. So the question here is how STEM contributes to neuroplasticity. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe some of you here already know what neuroplasticity is, or maybe even you have gained a better understanding on neuroplasticity. But at the very same time, maybe many of you here are still wondering what neuroplasticity is all about. All right, so neuroplasticity, or also commonly known as brain plasticity, is referred to the ability of our brain to continuously change and adapt to the learning and experience that takes place. So when we put this in an early years perspective, say for an instance, when children learn new concepts, it results in either two phenomena. First, it could result in the formation of new neural connections in their brain, or either it could result in the strengthening of the existing neural connection in their brain. So these two phenomena are called as structural plasticity and functional plasticity, respectively. All right, so therefore, neuroscience education is certainly very important to our educators, especially our preschool teachers, because I believe when they gain better knowledge in neuroscience education, in a sense of they have a clearer view on how children's brain develop, change, and function, then definitely our teachers would be able to come up with much more effective instructions in classroom, and as well as able to adapt to a neuroscience framed lesson. So one of it would definitely be our STEM education. Now, let's look at the difference between traditional method of teaching and STEM lesson that we have. So for instance, if you want to teach the concept of a butterfly to young children, so if you go for traditional teaching method, most probably you would be using books, photos, flashcards. Flashcards is very famous, see, at preschool. Flashcards or even videos, okay? So now since we are quite IT savvy, so we go for videos. But however, even though it results in learning experience, but however, I would say that the learning experience that takes place is not as powerful as if you provide the opportunity to the students to actually direct, have direct interactions with a real butterfly. Okay, so with that, I would like to bring in some scientific evidence that proves that repeated exposure to both cognitive and sensory stimuli could obviously strengthen the neural connections. So for an example, when our children revisit the learning objects or learning concepts, and as well as when they attach the emotional significance to these concepts that they are learning and even invoking more senses, this would definitely help to strengthen the connections in their brain cells and therefore improve the recall of information. So this shows how STEM education promotes better memory and learning from a neuroscience perspective. So this signifies that strong network within the brain with well-connected brain cells will definitely produce a more robust mental representation of the learning object or learning concept. And on the other hand, when we look at traditional method of teaching, I mentioned that, we go for books, videos, flashcards, and it's all about rote learning. So rote learning includes like memorization, mere memorization, listing, and yeah, so on. So this would result in a more vague impression of the concepts that we are teaching to young children. All right. So with that, I would also like to add on another component here, which is very much important and related closely with brain development, which is emotions. So a range of scientific studies discovered that emotions are very important in promoting learning. So when we talk about STEM education, no doubt we know that we will engage children actively in their learning. So when children get to do things on their own, and when they know that they are allowed to take accountability for their learning, so definitely they would feel happy because they will definitely feel fascinated and excited with the learning experience that they gain. And when they get to hands-on discover, see things on their own, feel, touch, conduct experiment, this would definitely spark their curiosity and interest. And at the same time, they can see that teachers are actually meeting their interests and needs. So, so this shows that STEM education will help to promote positive emotions, and from a scientific view, positive emotions are actually activated in a brain structure known as the amygdala. And for additional information, the same brain structure, which is the amygdala, is also responsible to store emotionally tagged memories. So this clearly shows that positive emotions that we could develop through STEM lessons can actually influence the children's attention, engagement, and eventually their memory recall. So which can make possible definitely in our STEM classrooms. All right. So lastly, I would like to emphasize also that when we're talking about STEM, some of us think that, okay, I have to integrate the STEM components in classroom. So I just cover the 4 components in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But most often we forget that we have to emphasize on the novelty. What is new in STEM concept? So teachers have to emphasize on new information and new concepts, so that that would definitely spark children's curiosity and interest. So when teachers bring in a new information or new learning with unique dimensions, but however, we have to always bear in mind that new information must be related to children's past knowledge and experience in order to result in a meaningful learning. So new learning, new information, or new concepts would draw children's attention, which again promotes meaningful learning, and this would definitely help in the wiring of new connections in the brain, which can last for lifelong. Yes. So with that, I would like to, I have an interesting video here on learning and brain plasticity that I would like to share with all of you. So I hope that you all enjoy this video.
Neuroscience is a biological science that is concerned with the function of the brain and the nervous system. For many years, scientists thought that the brain was fixed and couldn't adapt or change after childhood. But advances in fMRI scanning have shown that this could not be further from the truth. We can now see that our brains change and adapt every day, regardless of our age. Every time we learn something new, we're harnessing the power of neuroplasticity. Neuroscientists believe we have over 100 billion neurons in our brain, each capable of connecting to tens of thousands of others. Neurons are the building blocks of the brain, and each one can make trillions of connections every second. When we learn a new skill or think about something differently, we begin to make new connections between neurons. Every time we practice a new skill, think in a certain way, or feel a specific emotion, those related connections are then strengthened, and it becomes easier for our brains to follow this pathway. If we keep using this pathway, our brains begin to adapt, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The less we use our old pathways, the weaker that pathway becomes. It's this ability to make new connections that has enabled scientists to coin the term neuroplasticity, meaning our brains are pliable and plastic and can grow, adapt and change. When we apply the neuroscience of learning with how the brain works, we can modify 4 variables to maximise the retainment of knowledge. These can be summarised as ages: attention, generation, emotion and spacing. Attention. For us to be able to learn something, we need to pay attention to it. If we can't minimise distractions, then we can't focus on the learning and we won't remember it. Generation. This is where we encourage the learner to generate meaningful connections and associations with what they already know or a skill they already have. Help the learner to make those connections to previous learning and the wider context, and this includes the learner reflecting on their own learning process. Emotion. If we can attach emotion to the learning and help to motivate the learner with the rewards that they're going to gain from it, or challenge them to get out of their comfort zone, they're much more likely to remember the information later on. Spacing. Spacing out the learning over time and using repetition and retrieval instead of chunking it into one big block will strengthen the learning and help to move it from short-term memory to long-term memory. With the trend towards endpoint assessment, this skill will be key in the achievement and success of our learners.
Thank you, Vala.
Welcome.
Wow. Wow, that is awesome. You know, we learned so much from you today. All right. Okay, good. We are going to move on to the question and answers. And most of our audiences are so enchanted by all this new discovery, new information. And I guess they're still absorbing it. All right. So in the meantime, let me just ask each one of you one more question. All right. Dr. Yu, how are you, Dr. Yu? Dr. Yu? Now, I really admire your writing skill and thank you for that because you're sharing a lot of your experiences with us. And one of the things that you have written recently is about telling fairy tale stories, encouraging parents, especially father, you know, how to tell fairy tales to kids so that to spark their curiosity. Would you like to share with us your book, a little bit on your book, so that the audiences here today will go and purchase it from Amazon? Doctor, can you hear me?
Doctor, you are muted. Doctor, you are muted.
Doctor, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, unmute. Okay.
Sorry, you have to unmute yourself and start from the very beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, I have been telling fairy tales, creating my original fairy tales. It came about because my 2 daughters were very curious, always asking me questions. And after some time, even though I'm a scientist, I don't have the answers. Not like now you have Google to help you, you know. So what I do is to create a fairy tale. A fairy tale can answer any question. And to make it exciting, what I do was to put them into the fairy tale. They are the heroes or heroine in the fairy tales and get their involvement into the fairy tale. So in this way, they find it very exciting. My daughters told their mommy later that listening to my fairy tales is like watching a TV movie, right? Because you see, in fairy tales, especially when they can imagine, it is very important not to show them any illustrations. You know why? Because, for example, you have a photo or a drawing of Cinderella in a shimmering blue dress. That's the only picture they see. But you describe Cinderella's dress, they can begin to imagine, they use their mind. So it's very important that you do that. So after over 20 years, I found that I have a system to creating these stories because these stories are created at the spur of the moment during the bedtime. So when I put my daughter to bed, she will lie on my arm and I tell her story. She asks a question, I create a story, and then I pat her to sleep and I leave the room. Now the thing is that I have sort of discovered, looked through that there's a 5-step process, and I feel that today fathers and grandfathers and so on are the most neglected parents in a family. All right, just go to Google, go to YouTube and search for fatherhood and so on. You find that very little, hardly anything about any credit given to fathers. That's why I dedicate this book to fathers, where they can create fairy tales for the children. You can get a copy from Amazon, or Amazon. Many books are not available for sale in Malaysia, unfortunately. So for Malaysian bookshop, I have this Mind Apps, MINDAPPZ, Mind Apps. So you go there and search for Dr. YKK, you'll find my book there. It's only a few dollars. So you can download a copy there. All right, if any problem, you let me know. I will maybe put you to the thing there.
Okay.
In fact, I always believe in simplicity. And an engineer who read my book said that he never expected to create fairy tales for his children, but he did after reading my book.
Yes. I saw you in action. You were in my school just within one session. The children's name and getting them behave like the dinosaurs. Okay, thank you, doctor. Thank you. All right. Okay, the next question is for Evelyn. Evelyn Ling, are you there?
Evelyn, yes.
Yes, you can unmute yourself. So Evelyn, okay, I've seen so many collaboration of the music over, especially this period of COVID, whereby they have got in CNN and BBC. I think it'd be very lovely if you can put together, your instrument and create a show, during this, maybe for Christmas or New Year, because we're still locked down. Evelyn, I would love to have my kids locking into that. Would you have that for us?
First, you need to have an app that can do this kind of recording, and then you send your music pieces to the children who will be participating in this orchestration, and that they will play their part to the music that you've given to them and record it by this app. And then this app will correlate all the children together into one performance. So that's why you can see, like in the orchestration, you can see many people performing a piece of music, and then they're performing from all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is possible, but we need to work on it.
Yes. I'm sure Mr. Ramesh, you can offer some help here, yeah? And then put Malaysia in the world map, we'll be playing all this fantastic, especially the coconut shell and all that is very authentic. Upcycling all the material like Milo tins and all that. I'm sure, we can set a very good example here. Thank you, Evelyn. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Chan, how are you? Okay. Now, Mr. Chan, I have a question for you. This is a hotspot question. How is your program? How is your program to lead up to coding? Yes, I'm sure Mr. Ramesh, you can offer some help here, yeah?
Can you repeat?
Mr. Chan, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
A very hotspot question is on coding right now. I know you are preparing STEM, which is a very important fundamental steps. Okay, we do not want to do coding just like a lot of, I've seen a lot of coding things, Python and all. Nothing wrong, they're good. But I think you have something extra that because you're from the computer science background. So what is it that you need before we go into coding? What is the world map? We'll be playing all this fantastic, especially the coconut shell and all that is very authentic. Upcycling all the. How do we do that? Sorry of the voice interruption. Are we okay? Feel like my
okay. Sorry. Okay. Now talking about kids coding, I actually have about not long 7 years of programming.
Not long. All right, Mr. Chan, how are you?
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, before the children, especially young children. All right. So before they went into the programming, first of all, we need children to have logic thinking, things like that, of very basic fundamentals. All right. So what we are doing in kids coding is we are teaching a very fundamental of the coding itself. We are not went into Arduino, we call it Scratch programming, or block programming, or Python or C programming. All right. Now we focus on get children to learn coding concepts. What is logic? What is flow? All right. What is analysis? What is algorithm? What is loop? What is if-then conditions? Only then they went into different platform. What I mean different platform is like Scratch for Arduino is a block programming. It's one platform. Python is another platform. All right. C programming is another C++. All right. It's another platform. So if we put children direct into the C programming, I don't think they can learn about it because it is something like just the code and text and character, things like that. They will not be interested. All right, so what we do is we have a small robot and then they run to the CAD codes and then they actually run the program and we call the debug whether the program have you designed are good or not. So what we did over here, we put them in every lesson. There will be codes and then there will be testing and there will be debug and there will be some presentation for the children. All right, so we also come up with like zero or minimum cost involvement for the kindies or centers to implement the STEM program.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
It's coding as well. All right. Just like what I show, we have a few modules link each other. So from STEM point of view, we need to cater for the children growth in different stage. So they need fundamental of coding. Then after that, they may went into the Scratch programming or block programming, and then they went into the eventually text programming. We call it the C++. We call it text programming. All right. So the actual word they are using text programming.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chan. At least we have a clear idea, what it takes from STEM and then to prep towards coding. All right. So I would like to hear more from you next time. Okay. Now back to you, Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, Mr. Tan. You mentioned a lot about behavior, about knowing the behavior, and I am a multiple intelligence school. I actually observe and actually set up different centers, to actually try to evaluate, and actually I also allow the kids to actually feedback to me what is it they are like as they are. Okay, may I know? I mean, we're in the 21st century right now. Is there any instrument, tech instrument that can make us better, to know the kid better in terms of behavior in a more precise manner to help preschool teachers, because it's not easy. We have to deal with many children, and as you know, today parents are very, very absolutely busy. So how do we go about that in a more scientific manner?
Okay, when it comes to this, of course, like previously also you did share with me like how every kids behave also differently in your center. So when it comes to this, it's always have to see at the two part. One is about how these kids being developed through the influence of the people, and also where they are being being mixed it up together with who are the people that they are usually mingle with. So in order for us to find out that and to help this kid to learn whatever thing that we want them to educate, is always have to see the people that being influenced with them. Okay, so with that, as in every school also usually we will teach them like, okay, there's so many things that in a school they're going to teach about technical or any arts and so on. So in order for us to evaluate whether these kids are according to the right method or not, so that's where we need to have an assessment to evaluate these kids. Are they understand or not according to every single thing they study, they've been through. So in order for us to justify that whether these kids fully understand is on the right track of whatever education they are being involved in. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, we look forward to more support from you, Mr. Tan. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vala. Okay, good. Vala, I would like to ask you. Okay, you mentioned about the novelty, having new idea. What would name me at least one example? Let's say, what would you do for science? Okay, you're doing science. What is the new thing and novelty that you would help your students to help us in the kindergarten in future when they come in, to teach? What is it? Is there a certain thing you have in mind?
Okay, Grace. for time being, when we talk about novelty, definitely we can look at innovations, creative innovation. So in that sense, we already have STEM component in our curriculum in early years education here. But however, I would suggest that we can actually emphasize more on this component by integrating it into our students' assignment. So whereby they can plan and implement science lessons, integrating STEM component. And as you say, in terms of novelty, definitely we can go for innovations. It could be simple innovations, but something different. So when it comes to innovation and creativity, it does not mean that we have to completely create a new thing, but we can always refer to existing ones. And from there, we can do some improvement, or some adding some additional features, something like that. I don't have specific example here, but that would be the novelty that we can actually bring in or teach to the early years students, so that they can apply these in a school in future when they are when they are practicing in the field.
Yeah. Okay. Just to add this, suddenly I recall this example. Since you talk about the butterfly, I remember a makerspace school in Zenshan whereby they created a fashion show for children in for their own kindergarten, and then they actually have butterfly that have got sensors and fly out. Something like that. Maybe I should try for my school next year concert. Okay, great. Okay, thank you to all the panelists. We had a great day today getting all the information from you. And right now, I would like to share with you a case study from my kindergarten. I would like to share with you a case study from my kindergarten involving the use of AI pen from a mother who will give you her experience. And here you are, my video from courtesy of Aiden's mom, Samantha. Okay, Samantha, I have known you since Aiden was in your tummy. All right, as much as you actually love to have Aiden coming to Tatika, actually, because of the distance of work and all that, you did not manage to send Aiden until this year. And I would like to help the audience here recall what happened during MCO, how the AI pen helped you to teach Aiden at home.
Okay. During MCO, I'm actually having a hard time because as a working mother, I have to work from home and I have to take care of Aiden. So luckily, I have bought this AI pen and sometimes I have this keyboard at home. So initially I spent time with him to get him how to use the AI pen. And after that, he can actually able to learn by his own. So I can actually have no worries to continue with my work, and Aiden can continue learning. Yeah.
All right. So we know that Aiden now is progressing very well. He can recognize words very well. He speaks well. Of course, just a little bit of practice slowly on the motor skills and writing of the words. So I'd like to also congratulate you because Aiden now has picked up on his phonics because he didn't have a strong foundation. Can you elaborate more?
Okay, with this phonics method from foundation, he can actually cope with 3 languages, especially English. Previously, he cannot read by his phone, but now he's actually able to read by his phone, even though we have one set of the Peter and Jen's reading books. He can able to read till 4A. Very good.
Yeah, so he has got the reading culture.
Yes.
Good. Now the next thing is obviously ActiveBoard, you have used it at home,
yes,
and then we have used it in school. All right. How is it helping you and Aiden in terms of with the Bahasa Malaysia?
I can fly. 我能飞. I can run. 我能跑. I can jump. 我能跳. I can walk. 我能走. Walk. 走.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Of course, in order to catch up, because it is about a foundation for 4 years and 5 years.
Yes.
So I think what we have put through with Aiden is into the ActiveBoard is the Bahasa School Kata Basic and the lessons.
Yeah.
All right, so that helps as well. So overall, what we're saying is that with the brain reading, the 3 languages is covered, and very quickly, it's just 3 months. Very miracle, because he can memorize very well, that's his ability as well, and now he can actually spend time in area of his interest, like music as well. And how about the character building? Okay, before we talk about this character building, right? I really like recommend the parents out there to have like an active board or AI pen at home. Yeah, because with the fundamental of the phonics reading, my kid really can learn and can speak very well. Yeah. And finally, the last question. A lot of parents, especially during this MCO period and even subsequent to that, either they stop schooling or they let the kid use their YouTube on gadgets, handphones. What is your views and your advice? Yeah, I really love AI pen and keyboard because ever since my kid used these gadgets, and no more handphone, even though my kid will stop me from playing handphone or playing my handphone game. Yeah. Yes. So it's very positive. Yes, very positive. Yeah. Okay, good. I can see a lot of improvement. Well behaved. This is an important thing, and he is now more polite. He knows how to respect parents or friends. Okay, good. So in other words, to summarize, because Data Active can only have so many students, there's a limit. But in other words, other parents out there, if they're on their own, they can actually connect to us because we have the we have the, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then we have step by step, so that can help parents. Okay, good. Thank you, Samantha. Right. All right, thank you. Thank you for staying on with us. And very quickly, I just show you that we have the flyer here. That's the AI pen information. Great. And the next one would be the challenge form. Okay. So this is the challenge form. Do stay back and just listen to the next video to get the answers for this challenge. We are giving away a set of AI pen. All right, good. So now I'll show you the video of guarantee continuity in learning using AI pen and ActiveBoard. Thank you, Dr. Bhatia, for such an inspiring speech and motivation for us to continue to contribute to this very noble field. I'm happy to share my experiences on how to guarantee continuity in learning during this period of uncertainties. Right now, as I'm speaking, as I was saying just now, is our second lockdown. And during the first lockdown in March, in order to help kids to learn at home, I have to overnight digitize lots of materials and upload into our ActiveBoard platform. And this is still ongoing. But I'm pleased that I'm able to do that and get my hands dirty and go back to the roots, because the mastery of learning comes from myself, because we are the chief here. And it's happy to see how it is being appreciated by my teachers and my parents and the kids as well. However, in order to have a guaranteed continuity in learning, that's our goal, ultimate goal, there needs to be a new paradigm in education. Yes, today's theme is very appropriate. So I'd like to go through the 5 new paradigms that is very relevant to me. Number 1, neuroscience is the new emerging technology. Based on all the researchers, first 2,000 days brain reading is being applied in my kindergarten. We need this because our children in Malaysia, in my area in particular, they need to learn Mandarin, English, and Bahasa, and this is not easy task. And this is the main driver forcing me to innovate since the year 2017. I spent 2018 creating, looking for solution, and suddenly by 2019, all right, I arrived at the edutech tools that I've curated using AI pen and ActiveBoard that enable kids to want to learn on their own. And this is very, very nice in particular times like this, whereby we cannot be mixing with them so much in the sense that they have to be social distancing in the class, as well as now they can't even come to school. Thirdly, we're talking about 3 dimensions. We have to involve now parents, kids, and the school together. Now, I'm sure a lot of parents can, if you're listening to me right now, I appreciate what you have done. You have helped me a lot during this second lockdown period. Now, especially now, all the centers are closed in Malaysia. And I'm sorry, I'm talking about the red zones. And parents need to work from home. At the same time, they need to cook, and as well as teaching their own kids. Now, this is not easy task because this is out of the sudden. It is not the norm. And don't worry, we have tried our best. We have actually now got a solution for you. And afterwards, I'll show you in our next video, yeah? Okay, fourthly, we're talking about AI and big data for assessment and personalized learning. Now, this one is still very new. We have a long way to go. I know that country like Singapore, maybe, and China and America, they are already racing to achieve global breakthrough in this by year 2025. However, in smaller country like us, we got to start. We should not be left behind. And lastly, we're talking about 21st century flipped classroom and blended learning. Irrespective what the situation is right now, the pandemic challenges, we still have to go ahead and keep striving to change our education system to the 21st century, because children no longer will be attracted to just a plain classroom teachers sitting in front, watching over them, rote learning. Instead, they want to be engaged. They will remember and they will focus better. Now I'd like to share with you videos of how is it like learning from home with the kids and also at my school.
Yeah.
Fish. Bird. Bird.
I am a dog. I am a dog. I am a frog. I am a cock. Let's eat. Yes, or mouse.
Good. I hope all of you enjoyed the videos I compiled for you, and it's collected over a period of this last 6 months where we are actually working, the kids are learning from home, and subsequent to that in July, whereby they came back to school and you notice that they're wearing the mask, they have to have social distancing. And these kids were really, really great. They were also aware of what this viruses is, and they are very, very all out to fight the viruses. So now I'd like to share with you what are the benefits of using the AI pen and the active board. Yes, it's something novice, it's something new, but as you can see, the children are adapting it very well, and teachers need to be retrained and have a positive mindset. So the benefits are, number one, we can catch up on lost time in learning as schools are closed. Now we have colleague that's complaining like yesterday because our extension of lockdown is for another 1 week. In total, we have lost about 5 months in kindergarten, okay, in Malaysia. And 5 months is a lot of time. So how do you do that? You don't have the tools, all right? So for me, I have to work smart. I make sure that kids do not lose their time. So I'm using the AI pen and active board. Secondly, parental control are available in active board. and is WHO, World Health Organization, digital compliant. Now, this is very important because during this COVID period, a lot of parents are rushing to buy gadgets and handphones for their children to use. And I also seen a lot of negative impact because those programs are not meant for kids and they easily became addicted to those gadgets. Thirdly, 21st century kids need confidence. But then again, like you can see just now, the kids are all wearing masks, okay? How can we even teach them pronunciation? Goodness, 4 years old, they got to learn pronunciation. They got to see, we got to see their, their verbal expression. And we can't even do that. So for the active board, we have got the microphone built in there. And with the microphone, the kids can practice singing aloud, reading aloud. So that compensates for the lost time, lost opportunity for us to read aloud with them. Fourthly, creative and logical thinking learnings are included. As you know, a lot of kindergartens are using Montessori equipment or tools. But right now, with our current SOP situation, we cannot even display any of these products, any of these learning tools, because they are not allowed to share any of these tools. Can you imagine coming into a kindergarten whereby everything is locked away? So that was very, very scary for me too. But luckily with ActiveBoard, I came up with a solution. I combined there's an apps in there whereby it covers the creativity and logical thinking so that they won't miss out on this important holistic learning. And ActiveBoard is therefore helping us to achieve this. Finally, as always, we are all inclusive, okay? For special needs and normal kids can benefit from these tools. I know now, even the special needs, okay, they cannot even go to the centers. They are the one that needed a lot of help. So by having ActiveBoard and AI Pen, I really wish that we could reach out to this very special group, and we can, for the first time, we can together, special needs and normal kids, benefit from this tool together. Now, how about teachers? I'd like to show you the videos of how it is like when we start opening up school with SOP in Malaysia. All kindergartens are going to open again after 3 months of closure. And this is going to be an exciting time for children to come back to school. However, for teachers, we have to adhere to the SOP. And the SOP says that there is no bag. Number 2, we still need to have social distancing. And of course, most important is cleanliness. Hygiene and cleanliness is the ultimate that we all have to observe. Now, in order to do that, we need to have digital transformation in education. We cannot be just relying on the 20th century way of teaching, especially in the kindergarten, where teachers are standing in front, the teachers in front of the children, and they all sit together and listen to the teachers. That is the 20th century style. Now, we have this opportunity now to pivot ourselves to 21st century education, and we need tools, and the tools are called teacher assistant. We call it teacher assistant to help us to learn, the kids to learn on their own with the help of teachers as well as the parents. They can learn at school as well as at home. Now, my name is Grace Chow, and last year I was awarded by EduTech Asia for being the best use of emerging technology by combining the use of AI Pen and the ActiveBoard. Now, not only can we help normal kids to learn, but also the special needs kids to learn together. Now, with AI Pen, it is very interesting. It is dual language, you can clean it easily, and it starts from baby range up to 10 years old. And the children like to learn on their own because it is very user-friendly, it is a very nice voice, and they can repeat and learn many, many times. And I'm particularly very, very into the first 2,000 days of brain learning, whereby children can absorb 3 languages easily, meaning to say English, Mandarin, and Bahasa. And with this tool, we have the opportunity to make sure that children are not missing out, especially the past 3 months. If they're not done so, or they're not got lessons, this is the time to catch up. And it has been proven in my kindergarten. For the last 3 months, We do have uninterrupted learning. Kids and parents continue to work with us so that we maximize the time of the first 2,000 days, which is by 5.5 years old. Now, ActiveBot is equivalent in terms of its potential in teaching the children to read and to write. And it can be cleaned easily, okay? You can actually clean it easily. And if the kid need revision, they can do so on their own. So these two are very, very powerful tools to help us 21st century, whereby we call it blended learning. You use digital device as well as books. And finally, we are going to observe WHO digital guideline. All right, children should not expose to the screen, the tablet and a handphone below 18 months. All right, and up to 6 years old, only 1 hour is allowed. So this special case, this is the first ever education material robot being packaged like that, especially to take care of all our kids in terms of eyesight. Their posture is also very important, and they use it together with books. And hope with this is our vision that we want to help every kid, every school, not only Malaysia, all over the world, because it's 3 languages. Thank you. I would like to thank Okay, that's the end of the video. And I hope by now you can fill up the challenge form and get yourself qualified to win the AI pen. Okay, so that wraps up the presentation today. And on behalf of Tadika Active and ActiveBot, I created this not just because of the COVID, but it's ongoing. It's actually one of the strategy towards AI learning in future, because we need personalized learning and we need data. So this is just the beginning. So I would like to now hand over to Mr. Ramesh. Okay.
Right. Yes. Can you all hear me? Can?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So firstly, thank you all for joining this session. I think we saw quite a good number of participants, So in the Zoom platform, we had about 40 over participants. And also we had a lot of viewers watching through the YouTube channel set up by Segi College. So thanks all of you for your time and also for the comments that you have shared, in the chat group. So this is a wonderful opportunity to share with you about the importance of STEM education at early childhood. So Grace, you did a wonderful job introducing the speakers and also taking them through the journey and sharing the perspective of each of the experts that, the expertise that our speakers had today. All right, so maybe I could put on record our deepest appreciation to Dr. YKK, a very good old friend of mine and also a pioneer in creativity. When I say pioneer, it's a good 40 to 50 years, perhaps, he has been in this area promoting creativity and innovation. Mr. Tan, thank you for sharing about, the skills that is required, to nurture kids at a very young age. Thank you, Ms. Walar. Thank you, Evelyn and Mr. Chan. Right, I think it was a very wonderful session, and today's session is just the beginning. It's just for us to get to know and also to get a feel of what kids need, and from a parent's perspective and also teacher's perspective. We are open for more suggestions. Should you think that this is a very interesting area, should you want to join us for more, or should you want to contribute to be one of our speakers or even a program or a project, we welcome that very much. Like I said, we've got a lot of very good partners. Thanks to Segi College. Segi is just within a stone's throw from where STEM for All Makers is, and we welcome you to actually do a lot of programs jointly. Let's collaborate, One of the things that I would definitely like to take up is the idea that Evelyn had shared, to have an orchestra or a music. I like, the concept of STEM and the makerspace here is do it yourself. We buy. We are a consumer, but at the same time, we want to promote creating your own things from toys to education. So in this case, music. It's very interesting to see the range of products, the range of instruments from coconut shell to tin cans, and they produce lovely music. So the only link here is creativity. right? So please, I just searched and I found that there is such a thing called World Music Day. And World Music Day is on 21st of June. So perhaps if we launch a project sometime within a month or so, we'll have got 6 months to prepare for the celebration of World Music Days. Can you imagine kids creating their own instrument and performing as an orchestra? Don't worry about the venue. We've got plenty of space here, and we can get Daman Mall and other organizations to support us in this activity. So this is just one of the very few ideas that we are able to help support. So with that, I think I will do once again a big thanks to Grace, and all the best to Tariqa Active. I think you are in the right direction in promoting STEM education, and we would definitely look forward to more such activities. Thank you all, and we shall, maybe I'll pass back to Grace to to gracefully say something before we part. Back to you, Grace.
Well, I think this is the perfect time for us to do STEM and early childhood, because we see that during this COVID-19, a lot of parents, teachers, especially in the kindergarten, we do not have a platform. The dilemma platform is only for standard 1 and above. And if you follow the budget, which was announced yesterday, it was saddened that there is no much content in terms of the digital TV that we had here. But I think together we can actually form even this platform. We can actually have a lot of good skills. And in the Philippines, for example, the teachers are the one, okay? The teachers and the students are the one. And I think through STEM, you can actually have a lot of activity and showcase the talents of the kids, the talent of the teachers. These are already a very, very good content. So for me, I just would like to say that 21st century communication is very important. I came from the PR background, and why I came into early childhood industry is precisely to share this, that we have to voice out. We have to give all our children, our parents, our teachers, the knowledge, okay, the STEM or the STEAM exposure, so that they can voice out and do more for our community and our education, to improve our education for the betterment of humanity. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day. Drive safe. Oh, we're not driving, okay? It's raining, okay? All right, bye everybody.
Bye. Thank you for all.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, Doctor. Thanks, Farah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sagi. Thank you, Sagi.
Welcome, Miss Grace.
Bye-bye.
To you too. Bye-bye.
Yes.